Hello there, I just wanted to make a short video because I've had a response to the Freedom of Information request I made on the 15th of July, so it's about just over 6 weeks ago, in relation to how deaths are coded at the neonatal unit and how they were coded back in 2015 and 2016. I've put the request up on the, I put the response basically up on the screen here. And you can see the answer is very simple. It's a one-line answer. I'm asking them, I'll just read it out. It says here, you requested the following information and our response is detailed below. So when there was or is a death of an early neonate at the Countess of Chester Hospital, would the death be recorded by the hospital to match the month the death actually occurred, please? The reason I'm asking that question is because there had been some sort of chatter on Twitter in which some people were stating, and I don't know where they got the information from, whether they were guessing or they're just mistaken, that for some reason or other a death is recorded based on the month of birth rather than the month in which a baby died. Sadly died, but so I always thought that was very strange. So I wanted to get it confirmed through this Freedom of Information request, and I have done now. And I go on in my question to say, i.e., if a death of an early neonate occurred in September, say, would this be coded as a death in September? And I also say, should the month an early neonate dies be shown on the hospital records as the month of death? I really wanted to make it very, very clear what I'm asking, very specific, so they can't sort of be confused about what I'm asking. And I finally say, and whatever the answer is to the above, would this also have been the practice in 2015 at the Countess of Chester Hospital, please? And the answer is just a simple line, as you see here. It's taken them 6 weeks to get this back to me, because I think they were a bit concerned about how they should answer this. I think they know that they're hostage to the previous Freedom of Information request, which I'll go on to talk about in a minute, why I've asked for this. And their answer is yes, the death would be recorded and coded against the same month as the date of death, which makes absolute sense. That's what you'd expect, wouldn't it? That's what you'd expect. That's what it should be. The reason I'm asking this, and I don't know if anyone listening to this has heard the previous videos in relation to this part of the story, as it were, is that in the previous Freedom of Information request response made by someone else, what we've had for quite a long time now, which looks at deaths between 2014 and 2018. Anyway, if you zero in on 2015, I'll put the picture up here. There's various columns here going down the months here. You can't see above what the columns state, but in order from left to right, the columns are late fetal loss, stillbirth, early neonatal deaths, late neonatal, then post-neonatal, and then all deaths. So early neonatal is from birth until 7 days, and late neonatal, just in a definition today, is not less than 7, not 7 or less, and also not less than 28. So it's a bit tricky how they're defining that, but it's in large part, I think it's from day 8 to day 28 is a late neonatal death, and then from 0 to 7 days, or 1 to 7 days, effectively. Well, zero if you're counting. Well, it'll be the first day, day 1, isn't it? Up to day 7 is early neonatal. Post-neonatal is post 28 days then. So that's what the columns are. And as I've done videos about this before, I'll just reiterate it. There are 2 charges of murder on the indictment for babies E and I, who are said to have been murdered in August and October 2015, respectively. And as you'll see from the chart that you can see on the screen right now, in August 2015 there are 0 in the third column, which is the early neonatal deaths, 0. There's also 0 in the late neonatal deaths as well, and certainly the postnatal, but that wouldn't post-neonatal. But there are 0 in all those columns there. But there are figures for stillbirths in August 2015 and October 2015. So the implications of this are as follows: is that one of two things has happened here. Either the hospital has deliberately or accidentally, in quotes, miscoded 2 deaths as stillbirths, because there are figures for stillbirths in August 2015 and October 2015. Why they've done that is another question, if they've done that. The alternative is that they haven't done that, but they've simply missed out those deaths, which become murder charges altogether. So why would that be? Why would they do that? Why would they do it on either account? And whatever they have done on either of those two options, it has to be one of them. It has to be one of them. Either they've missed it out completely, those 2 deaths, or they've miscoded them as stillbirths. One of the ramifications of that, or a further ramification, is that it means there are now, in total, a minimum of 19 deaths across 2015 and 2016, out of which Lucy Letby was accused of causing just over a third, i.e. 7 deaths. So we've still got 12 deaths that Evans has deemed explainable and expected. 12 out of the 19 he has deemed explainable and expected. And that 12 in and of itself, had there been not another 7 deaths, that would have been a spike in and of itself. But yet he's deemed them all explainable and expected. So go figure with that. Make it make sense. It's possible that there were further miscodings, if that's what's happened here, i.e. there are 12 in total in 2015. Let's have a look here, I'm just going up the chart. In 2015 there were 12 stillbirths. It's possible that 2 of them, as I've said here, have been miscoded from actually being early neonatal deaths to stillbirths, but is it possible that more of them were early neonatal deaths, more of that 12? Because that 12 in and of itself is a big rise. I mean, it's a big rise. It's like a 33% rise from the previous year, which is 9, and then there was 8 stillbirths in 2013. But then in 2016 it just drops down to 2 stillbirths. So what's going on there? Did they decide not to miscode some deaths that they otherwise might have miscoded in 2016? Because they wanted to implicate somebody in some murders. And then on 2017, the stillbirths go up again, and Lucy Letby is left. They go up to 11 again, which is almost the same as 2015 at 12. So that's an interesting... I've just thought about that, just looking at these figures. That drop from 12 to 2 to 11 across 2015 to 2017. Either way, they're playing very fast and loose with the figures here. Why exactly, we don't know. But it's got, as I've mentioned just over the last few minutes, various ramifications, various questions need to be asked. And there's a concomitant smaller proportion of the full amount of deaths across those 2 full calendar years that Lucy Letby was charged for causing, i.e. charged with murder. 7 out of 19, leaving 12 expected and explainable according to the guru Dewi Evans. there we have it. So I've been waiting for this response for quite a while, and I wanted to share it with you, that it explicitly knocks out that idea, which was a confusion, which I thought sounded balmy actually, that they would record deaths in a month based on the date on the month of birth rather than the month of death. That's what some people were saying, and they're still saying it on Twitter. I can't get through to them, so I've given up on some people who keep saying it. They keep saying, "Oh, it's to do with the month of birth, or that they were born in another hospital, and that's why you wouldn't include." It's just bizarre. So I just have to forget about those kind of intrusions. Anyway, I've had it from the hospital itself. They're stating it very clearly that if a baby dies at that hospital in a certain month, it is under that month. Obviously, it should be recorded, not when the baby was born, and not recorded because the baby was born in another hospital. It doesn't make any sense. It's the same, in the case of baby K. The baby K sadly died when it was transferred, when the baby was transferred to a level 3 unit 3 days after leaving the Countess of Chester Hospital. And that death doesn't and wouldn't and shouldn't come up under the deaths under the Countess of Chester Hospital, albeit that the death may well have been caused, and probably was caused, by the very poor care the baby received at the Countess of Chester neonatal ward, which was operating at a level 2, and it just simply wasn't up to doing that, and for all the other reasons we've discussed many times over, why that was a dangerous place for high acuity babies to be. But the actual recording of where the death took place would have been in that level 3 unit. But the sequence of events that caused it started at the Countess of Chester Hospital in the case of baby K, and they tried to make that a further murder charge, didn't they? That was the 8th murder charge, which was dropped at the last moment in respect to baby K, and then we had the retrial of the charge that they had left, which is the attempted murder charge, and bizarrely that was given a guilty verdict this year. So there we have it. So thanks for listening. I thought you'd be interested to see the confirmation about when deaths are recorded, and then the obvious problem that we have here is that we've got zeros in the columns for August 2015 and October 2015, in which there were, we are told, 2 deaths that lead to 2 murder charges and 2 convictions for murder for baby E in August 2015 and baby I in October 2015. Thanks very much for listening. All the best. Bye-bye.